So most of you probably won't know this, but of the esoteric things that I'm into, one of them is things that fly. In fact, if you go way, way, way back to the very start of this channel, you'll find that the very first video is actually some slow-mo footage of a homemade drone I was trying to make crashing. So that drone project never got off the ground. I'm sorry. However, my love of flying things wasn't tempered, so I own a couple of drones, some toy ones and some a little bit more advanced ones, and yeah, love flying them, and I've actually found some pretty good uses for them, including this one where I had to inspect the cowl on a chimney that someone suspected that a bird had managed to break through. So, you know, I have some fun with these things. One thing that I've never tried to make is an airplane. So that's what we're doing in this project. This video, basically, I'm going to try and attempt to design my own airplane from scratch, or seaplane, obviously, and yeah, make it fly. I've never designed a plane before. I have some rough basics of, things that I've learned from following people on YouTube and just some basic knowledge of aerodynamics and how planes work in general. So I'm going to try and combine all that together, and I'm going to try and make and fly an airplane. So that's what we're doing. Let's kick off. So to start designing this plane, I jumped into CAD. I didn't have a really detailed idea about exactly how I was going to do this. I had a rough idea that I wanted to start with, mostly some 3D printed parts connected by carbon fiber tubes. So I wanted to start with roughly a front plate and a back plate. I was going with sort of a triangle design to connect them with these carbon fiber rods. And then beyond that, everything else was was kind of a blur. So that was just the main fuselage I had this idea for. Put a motor on the front, put tail, elevator, and rudder at the back, and then figure out some way of designing a wing box, and then the wing spars, and then the wings themselves. I also kind of knew that I was going to make it out of foam, roughly for the wing surfaces and the other control surfaces. But the first part to start with was to draw it all up in CAD and do some 3D printing to get my first parts out, and then go from there. All right, things are escalating. This is what I've got so far. This thing is massive. I didn't intend that it would be this big, but look, fucking huge. Nope. But yeah, I got some tail surfaces in, the control surfaces. They seem to, they bend and stuff. That's cool. And I have the wing section there, which is pretty cool. It turned out as it did in the drawings. The only thing I'm concerned about now is that my aspect ratio between the length of the wing and the length of the fuselage of the plane is a bit off. So yeah, not sure. I might need to, if I can get some longer rods maybe, or I might need to shorten the wing. That's not too big a deal. I can probably remove one of those wing ribs and sort of cut the length of the rods down a bit, which is fine. So I can do that. I might do that. I think that's probably actually a sensible thing to do. But yeah, we're moving. I realized I didn't buy enough rods, so I need to get some more rods. I have them on order. And yeah, cutting foam board and stuff is actually quite difficult to get it right, but I'm happy with these surfaces. I have a lot of test pieces here for trying to figure out how I can bend the wing. So yeah, not exactly sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I think I should be able to manage. It's going to be a bit tricky, but I think I can do it. So yeah, this is it. This is a little bit of chaos here in my office right now. Yeah, a lot of scraps and a lot of cut bits of card and stuff. So I'm figuring this out. I'm not really filming a lot because I don't know what I'm doing here, so I'm just trying to figure stuff out. But yeah, I'm gonna keep moving. Maybe the next thing you'll see is maybe me wrapping the wing. I'm gonna try and figure that out. But yeah, I'm learning. I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna make a plane and we're gonna see if it flies. I'm trying not to overthink too much the design. I'm going with some basic things that I think will work, and I'm hoping to be proven completely wrong and then learn and keep going from there. But I'm trying not to question it too much right now while I'm in the moment. I'm just trying to do it. So anyway, I'm going to continue and let's see what happens. So I redesigned the whole thing. I didn't fundamentally change the design, but I redesigned every single part. And also apologies for that background noise. The printer is churning away the new parts right now. But I just want to do this just to talk about what I changed and why very quickly. So first obvious change is the size of the fuselage. So it was way too big. I don't know why I made it so big. And the front of it had this big flat nose that was just going to be like a wedge driving through the air. So I decided to change it a little bit and made it a little bit bigger. Gave it this little nice little kind of lofted front, which is a little bit more aerodynamic, I suppose, and generally just made it smaller. So the fuselage is much more narrow, which I think is going to be better. The second thing I changed was the tail section. So the previous design of the tail I wasn't really happy with because of the width of it as well. It meant that, and it had this big wedge at the back. There wasn't a lot of airflow for the elevator, for the rear elevator. I thought when it was pitching up, it would be okay, but when it pitched down, that big dump truck back on it was just going to block most of the airflow, which I didn't really like. So I think this is a little bit of a better design. I moved it down slightly so it doesn't just mount on the top, and the whole thing is again smaller because of the fuselage. So I think this should be a little bit better. I don't really know if it'll make any difference with control authority because I moved the elevator down so it's more in line with the wing. It was a good bit above it, but we'll see if it makes much of a difference. I can move that up a bit if I need to. That's not a problem. Moving it up is no problem. But I just thought this way should give me some better airflow over the wing. Obviously, with the fuselage being smaller, this middle bracket thing is also smaller. One thing I had made a mistake on this was I actually had made the through hole on this go through the split line, which meant that on the top surface of this there was nothing for the bolt to actually pinch against, so I had to stick washers on it on the first version. So that's fine. I fixed that up, just changed the depth of this counter bore, and that solved that one. Figured while I was redesigning the parts I might as well do that. And then the final change I made was I shortened the wing chord length. So this wing is now a little bit shorter. The specific reason for that, I did think that I kind of overdid it with the chord length of the wing, but also I wasn't taking into account that I need some room for the elevator. So obviously the skin is going to be foam, which is going to wrap around this wing and come down here, and then there's going to be a bit that comes out here that I cut a channel through, which will become the aileron. So yeah, I wanted to shorten this rib design so that I could overall shorten the chord of the wing, but also leave me my room for my ailerons. So that's it really. So yeah, they're all the changes. Still not sure if my wings are too long or not. But now that I've shortened them, I think I might leave them that little bit over long, because as well with the design of this whole outer bit where you can see the ribs are here can slide all the way in on these two rods. So I can slide this all the way into the center of the fuselage, and because I've made the fuselage narrower, it means the overall wing length is going to be slightly shorter. And because I've cut down on the chord length, that means the aspect ratio of the wing has changed a bit. So I think leaving it a little bit longer might actually be better. But I'll see. I can also adjust that at any point in the future. I can chop the wing spars down to size, make it shorter. So yeah, that's about it for this. I don't really think I have any other changes to highlight. I gotta print those, and then we're gonna assemble this. I've been doing a load of messing around with foam. The big thing is going to be bending the wings. I can make the rudder of the elevator. That's pretty painless. I can mount all the parts and assemble the whole thing. That's all fine. But yeah, bending the wing is going to be the challenging part. I'm also waiting. I didn't order enough of my carbon fiber tubes that I'm using for the spars and the fuselage, so I have to wait for them to arrive before I can fully assemble the wings. But that's the next part you're going to see. So I'm going to print all these parts out, kind of dry fit everything, and then I'm going to build the wing. And I'll probably show you guys building the wing, because I think that'll probably be an interesting bit. And then we're going to assemble it all and then fly it, hopefully. So stay tuned. We're going to do all that. So I procrastinated on this part for way too long, which is basically assembling the wings and then getting ready to bend the foam for the wings. So there was a certain amount of finality with putting the wing spars through and super gluing on the 3D printed ribs. Obviously, I can buy more, I can print more, so it's not the end of the world if this didn't work. But yeah, there was something about the finality of it that made me a bit nervous. But also, I think the dread of how I was going to bend the wings was also creeping through a lot here. So this is foam board. I'm based in Ireland, and as far as I can tell, the foam board that's available to us here in Ireland or in Europe is different to what's commonly available in the US, because I see videos of people in the US peeling off the backing paper of foam board and scoring the foam and being able to bend it and do all sorts with it really, really easily. I think the foam board we get here is different because peeling the backing is nowhere near as easy, and making it work is quite difficult. So this took quite a bit of work, a lot of practice, a lot of wasted pieces. I also made this special jig that I could put a purpose-built foam cutter into and cut really even straight parallel lines into the foam so that I could kind of do something like kerf cutting to be able to bend the foam properly. In the end, it worked out, but it was quite difficult and not as easy as I have seen people on the internet make this out to be. The only reason I think that maybe this is definitely the case that it's different is that I found another guy on the internet who's based in the UK who makes model planes like this, and he said basically the exact same thing about bending the foam and the foam board being different in the US. So maybe there's different types. Maybe I just don't know what to Google to find the right stuff. But yeah, I found this part quite difficult. We got there at the end, but yeah, it was fairly challenging. So we've made a ton of progress on this off camera, I'm afraid. Some of this is just, it's messy, it's kind of fiddly, so didn't film a lot of it. There was also just a lot of figuring stuff out, which is not terribly interesting. But next part, basically, I have this functionally, it's pretty much all ready. I have all my servos situated. I have the motor wired up. I have the wiring roughly in place. I need to trim some cable ties and just neaten it up a little bit. This is the first of what's going to get tested, basically. So the last piece that remains is, so I see on the control surfaces, I have these little mounts for the arms that are going to control it. I have custom servo horns built. So basically all I have to do now is I need to bend this wire to connect the servo horns to the control surfaces. I have to do the tail, I have to do the rudder and the elevator and the two ailerons. So I just need to basically bend 4 bits of this wire and make sure it all works, and just figure out if it's going to be secure enough and how, just to make sure that they don't fall out while it's flying around. Then we're ready to test it actually in the air, which is something I'm slightly nervous about because I've never actually flown a remote control plane before, which I realize is probably an oversight having built this, that this might fly, but I might not be able to fly it, which only occurred to me as I was about halfway through building it. So we'll see. I have no idea. If I throw this plane and it's able to just fly and then sort of crash land, I'm going to call that good. I built a plane that flies. Whether I can fly it or not is a different story. So that's the next thing. I'm going to bend these rods and then I'm going to take it for a test flight. Unfortunately, the weather recently has been a little bit poor here in Ireland, so I want to wait for a little dry spell before I go and bring it out to the field and fly it. So yeah, gotta wait for the weather a little bit. Gotta bend these rods. Also, I'm incredibly busy at the moment with something else very exciting, which I'll tell you guys about in due course. But yeah, that's taking up a lot of my time at the moment, so I don't have a huge amount of time to work on this. But I'm chipping away at it when I can. Yeah, by the time you see this, this project will have taken a very long time to finish, but we'll get there. Anyway, next thing, I'm going to bend these rods, make my little control arms work, and then take her for a test flight. Okay, we're at the field, got the plane, it's ready to fly for the first time. It's a little windy, sorry if you can't hear me. Yeah, we're going to put it up in the air. I have no idea if it's going to fly or not. I have my lovely assistant here with me today. She's going to pilot the drone. We'll try and get some drone shots of this flying or crashing, whatever. We're going to do it and let's see what happens. No idea if it's going to work, but we're here. Let's try it.
So here we have the highly awaited test flight. And yeah, it's pretty plain to see looking back on this that it was never going to work. So we have pretty much an instant nosedive. I guess a combination of not enough thrust, too heavy, not enough lift. Just it nosedives straight away. There's no way to recover that. So, and unfortunately, the first test flight and test crash also pretty much broke everything on the plane. So I could repair it, get it back up and running, and do it. It's not terminal, but in the moment I definitely didn't have any of the parts on me to do it. And I think it told me enough that I need to know that this plane isn't going to fly. So, unfortunately, I'm going to leave it there for this iteration of this plane. Might come back to it in the future, but yeah, not a successful test flight, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. That's it. It's dead. Didn't work. We're into the video. So the test flight was a failure, but we did get Lauren flying the drone, and you know what? I think she likes it.
Always.
So something good came out of it. What a fun day out.
Hang on, I'll fly it back to us.
You flying it back to us? Okay, I'll see if I can get it on the camera. Oh, I got her. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
You want to bring it down for a smooth landing?
Okay, hang on. I'm going to land it on the helipad.
Okay.
Keep going the wrong way.
Come on, you're almost there. There we go. Set her down.
It's not all bad though. I had fun building this thing. I kind of enjoyed putting it together and designing it. Didn't work, but yeah, I don't really care. Unfortunately, this is the closest to flying that it got to, but I also had a fun couple of hours out in the field, messing around, and got Lauren flying the drone, which made her very happy. So it was a fun day, and I had some fun doing it. So yeah, that's it. Don't know if anyone's going to learn anything from doing this, but I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I will see you guys in the next one.